Nobody in the building knew his name. For 11 years, he pushed the same janitor cart through gleaming corridors, emptied wastebaskets, and wiped down polished boardroom tables, while executives in tailored suits rushed past like he was just part of the scenery, silent, ignored, unseen. His name was Sam Delacruz, 53 years old. His faded navy blue uniform read Facility Services, Apex Dynamics in plain white thread. His sneakers were worn, his hands calloused, and his presence, to most, invisible. But Sam saw everything. It was a Tuesday morning in downtown Chicago. The sky hung low with a blanket of fog, muffling the sounds of a city already awake. On the 42nd floor of the Apex Tower, the day was in full swing, phones buzzing against glass desks, heels clicking on imported tile, and the dull hum of productivity filling the air like static. Sam moved through it all silently, pushing his cart past floor-to-ceiling windows and office pods. No one looked up. No one ever did. Until today. Near the main reception desk, something was going wrong. A delivery man, visibly flustered, clutched a clipboard and pointed at a package, while the receptionist, a young blonde named Tessa, blinked at him with polite confusion. She knew just enough Spanish to order a margarita, and that clearly wasn't going to cut it. Sam paused a few steps away, watching the uncomfortable exchange. The delivery guy was sweating now, his voice tight, trying to explain where the package was supposed to go. Tessa glanced helplessly at her computer screen, like it might start offering subtitles. Sam sighed softly and stepped forward. "Perdón, amigo," he said, gently but with just enough authority to part the tension. "¿Está buscando el departamento de finanzas?" The delivery man's face lit up. He nodded quickly and handed Sam the clipboard. A few clear sentences later, the package was redirected, and the man was thanking Sam like he'd just thrown him a life preserver. Sam nodded, returned the clipboard, and turned back to his cart. He didn't expect applause. He was used to walking away quietly. But someone had noticed. Nathan Rhodes, the CEO of Apex Dynamics, had been heading through the lobby at that exact moment, on his way to a client lunch. He stopped mid-step. His phone lowered from his ear, his eyes narrowed. He had seen this janitor around the building 1,000 times, but not like this. "Hey, wait a minute," Nathan called out as Sam reached for the service elevator. Sam turned calmly, not startled. "Yes, sir." Nathan stepped closer, eyes narrowing in curiosity. "Was that Spanish you were just speaking?" "Yes, sir." "Fluently?" "Yes." Nathan paused. "Do you speak any other languages?" There was the briefest flicker in Sam's expression. Not pride, but a quiet echo of a life long buried. "French, Mandarin, Arabic, German, Russian, Tagalog, Italian, and a little Latin, though no one speaks that anymore." Nathan blanked. 8 languages? No, 9, counting English. For a moment, he simply stared at the man he had walked past for over a decade, now seeing him as if for the very first time. "Listen," Nathan said, choosing his next words carefully. "I've got a meeting in 45 minutes with a delegation from Shanghai. Our usual interpreter is stuck in traffic. Could you step in, just to make sure nothing gets lost in translation?" Sam looked down at his hands, resting on the cart handle, hands that had cleaned toilets and conference rooms for over a decade. "Yes, sir," he said. "I can do that." Nathan nodded slowly. "Conference room B, 10th floor, in 45. As the CEO walked away, already dialing his assistant to rearrange the meeting, Sam turned back toward the service elevator. Something had shifted in the air. For 11 years, he had gone unnoticed. Now, the most powerful man in the company had just asked him for help. The 10th floor of Apex Tower was a different universe from where Sam normally worked. The air smelled faintly of designer cologne and artisanal coffee, and the furniture looked like it belonged in a museum of modern design. Conference Room B was no exception. Its walls were glass, its table a slab of polished walnut that probably cost more than Sam had made in a year. When Sam entered, Nathan Rhodes looked up from his phone and exhaled in relief. "Sam, thank God you made it. They should be here any minute." Sam stepped inside, still wearing his maintenance uniform. He didn't fidget, he didn't apologize, but he did glance at the leather chairs and hesitate. He'd been in this room before, at night when it was empty, cleaning up after meetings, wiping fingerprints from the glass, taking out half-full coffee cups people never finished. But he had never sat at the table. Today, he took a seat at the far end. Nathan leaned forward, folding his hands. "Just so you know, this is a big one. We're talking about a potential $60 million partnership over the next few years, mostly logistics and supply chain agreements. But the cultural stuff, that's where things tend to go sideways. Sometimes a mistranslated phrase kills a deal." Sam nodded. "I understand." Nathan studied him for a second, then asked, "Where did you learn Mandarin anyway?" Sam's eyes drifted to the tall windows behind Nathan. Chicago's skyline stretched out like a blueprint drawn in steel and glass. "My father was with the Philippine Foreign Service. We moved a lot. Beijing, Tokyo, Paris, Manila. I lived in Shanghai for a few years when I was a teenager." Nathan raised an eyebrow. "Your dad was a diplomat?" "Cultural attaché," Sam said quietly. "He believed language was the key to everything. He used to say it could open doors you didn't even know existed." Nathan leaned back. He was right. Before either of them could speak further, the conference room door opened. 3 people entered, dressed in tailored suits and moving with the quiet authority of professionals who were used to having their words matter. A woman in her 40s stepped forward and extended her hand. "Mr. Rhodes, I'm Li Wen from Eastbridge Global. This is Mr. Zhang, our operations director, and Mr. Huang, our logistics consultant." Nathan stood and shook hands all around. "Welcome. This is Sam Delacruz. He'll be assisting us with any translation needs today." Li Wen glanced at Sam with polite curiosity, then turned to her colleagues and said something in rapid Mandarin. Sam caught every word. "This is the translator? I thought they said the regular one was unavailable. He doesn't look like a translator." Sam smiled calmly and replied in fluent Mandarin. "Appearances can be misleading. I apologize if my attire isn't suited for the occasion." All 3 visitors froze. Li Wen's eyebrows rose. Mr. Zhang tilted his head slightly. Mr. Huang took a half step back. "Your Mandarin is," she searched for the word, "flawless. Where did you study?" "Shanghai University," Sam answered in Mandarin. Then, switching to English, he added, "But I've had many excellent teachers over the years." The room shifted in an instant. What had started as a stiff business negotiation softened into something more human. Li Wen sat down with a new sense of ease. Mr. Zhang cracked a smile. Mr. Huang even chuckled under his breath. For the next 90 minutes, Sam didn't just translate, he orchestrated. When Nathan described Apex's distribution framework, Sam translated not just the words, but the meaning, framing them in terms the Eastbridge team could instinctively understand. When Li Wen raised concerns about quality control standards, Sam helped Nathan understand the deeper cultural expectations behind her questions. But it was the small moments that mattered most. When Mr. Zhang made a subtle joke about Chicago's obsession with deep dish pizza, Sam rendered it perfectly, tone, timing, and all, earning a genuine laugh from Nathan. When Mr. Huang struggled to articulate a complex shipping concept in English, Sam offered 3 Mandarin alternatives, each with slightly different shades of nuance. By the time the meeting ended, formal handshakes had turned into warm smiles. Li Wen clasped Sam's hand between both of hers and said in perfect English, "Thank you for making us feel truly welcomed. It's been a long time since we felt this understood in an American business meeting." After the Eastbridge team departed, Nathan and Sam sat alone in the now quiet room. Afternoon light slanted through the windows, casting long shadows on the floor. Nathan exhaled slowly and looked at Sam. What you did in there, that wasn't just translation. That was diplomacy. Sam shrugged lightly. I just helped people understand each other. Nathan shook his head. No, you made them feel respected. You made them feel seen. That's rare, Sam, especially in international business. Sam met his gaze. People are people, Mr. Rhodes, no matter where they come from. Most of the time, they just want to know someone's actually listening. Nathan was quiet for a long moment, his expression shifting from amazement to something deeper. Sam, tell me something. How did you end up working here, doing this? Sam looked down at his hands that had cleaned boardrooms and bathrooms and everything in between. Life happened, he said. My wife got sick while I was in graduate school. I came back home to care for her. We had no savings. I needed something that paid right away. The linguistics degree didn't pay the rent. Nathan's face tightened. So, you took a janitor job? Sam's voice was calm. I took a job that paid the bills, and I found I didn't mind the work. There's something honest about cleaning. You leave things better than you found them. And you hear things. You see who people are when they think no one's watching. Nathan sat back in his chair, speechless for a moment. For 11 years? And we never saw you. That's okay, Sam said quietly. I wasn't here to be seen. I was here to work. But as Nathan looked at him now, he knew something had changed. Sam wouldn't be invisible much longer. The next morning, Nathan Rhodes walked into his office carrying two things he never brought together before: a strong cup of coffee and a stronger sense of clarity. By noon, he had called an emergency meeting. The senior leadership team arrived assuming it was another budget sprint or strategy session. They filed into the executive boardroom, murmuring small talk and checking their phones until Nathan stood at the head of the table and said without preamble, "Everyone, I'd like you to meet Sam Delacruz." Heads turned, a few double-taked. Sam stood beside him, still wearing the same navy blue uniform with facility services stitched over his chest. He looked calm, unshaken, and oddly comfortable, even as 12 vice presidents staring at him like he'd wandered into the wrong room. Some of you may have seen Sam around the building over the past decade, Nathan continued. What you probably don't know is that he speaks 9 languages fluently and just conducted the most effective international negotiation I've seen in my 20 years of doing this. The room fell dead silent. Angela Mayfield, the VP of Human Resources, glanced down at her legal pad, clearly unsure whether to start taking notes or raise her hand. Derek Lin, head of global operations, blinked twice and leaned forward as if seeing Sam for the first time. "Wait," said Stephanie Jung, director of communications. "Did you say 9 languages?" Nathan nodded. Mandarin, Spanish, French, Tagalog, Russian, Arabic, German, Italian, Latin, plus English, obviously. Stephanie looked at Sam, stunned. "And you've been working here as a janitor," Sam said, his voice steady, "for 11 years. Angela slowly raised her hand, like she was in high school again. "Where did you study?" she asked. "Shanghai University, University of the Philippines. Some coursework in Paris. But most of my education came from growing up in diplomatic households," Sam replied. Nathan cleared his throat. "Which brings us to why we're here. As of today, I'm creating a new position, Director of Cultural Affairs and Global Communications. Sam will be managing our international partnerships, training staff on cross-cultural sensitivity, and serving as liaison for any global expansion or negotiation moving forward." Gasps, whispered conversations. Someone scribbled furiously. Then Derek Lin raised his hand. "With all due respect, sir, shouldn't we post the position? Interview candidates? Run a vetting process?" Nathan's face hardened slightly. "Derek, how many languages do you speak?" Derek hesitated. English, a little French. I took some Spanish in college." "Sam," Nathan interrupted, "would you mind speaking to Derek in Spanish for a moment?" Sam turned toward Derek and launched into 30 seconds of fluid, elegant Spanish, clearly explaining something. Derek's face shifted rapidly from polite discomfort to quiet panic. What did he say?" Stephanie asked. "He gave a breakdown of our logistics issues in Guadalajara, proposed 3 potential solutions, and asked Derek whether he'd prefer to discuss implementation in English or Spanish." Nathan looked at the room. "Any further questions?" No one answered. Angela cleared her throat. "What about compensation? Where does this position fit in the organizational structure?" Nathan turned to Sam. "What were you making as a janitor?" $34,000 a year. Nathan nodded. "Your new salary will be $105,000, full benefits, and a signing bonus for the 11 years we failed to see you." Still no objections. "Good," Nathan said. "Sam, welcome to the executive team." The meeting dissolved into a whirlwind. Some clapped, some looked dazed, but everyone understood one thing. Something had fundamentally changed at Apex. Sam moved out of the basement-level maintenance locker and into a new corner office on the 15th floor with a view of Lake Michigan. His new desk gleamed, and the placard outside read, "Samuel Delacruz, Director, Cultural Affairs and Global Communications." But the title wasn't the real change. Within his first 30 days, Sam uncovered multiple communication breakdowns that had been bleeding the company dry. One email chain with a supplier in Hamburg revealed they'd been misunderstanding shipment deadlines for months. A 10-minute phone call in fluent German cleared it all up. He hosted weekly bridge sessions, informal lunches where employees from different departments could practice new languages, ask cultural questions, or just share personal stories from their heritage. People began to show up in droves. The cafeteria, once a quiet, disconnected place, now buzzed with conversations in half a dozen languages. For the first time in years, Apex Dynamics began to feel truly dynamic. But Sam's greatest impact wasn't in spreadsheets or saved contracts. It was in how he shifted the company's gaze from numbers to people. One afternoon, during a tense video negotiation with a Moroccan supplier, things were unraveling. Voices were curt, misunderstandings multiplied. It was clear the deal was slipping. From his seat in the corner, Sam leaned forward and said something in Arabic. Instantly, the mood changed. The lead negotiator smiled, relaxed, and began to speak more openly. After the call, Nathan pulled Sam aside. "What did you say?" Sam smiled. "I apologized for our cultural missteps and asked about his daughter. She just got accepted to business school in Casablanca. He's very proud." "And that solved our pricing dispute?" "No, but it reminded him he wasn't just talking to a brand. He was talking to people." Nathan nodded slowly. And that's when he realized Sam wasn't just a translator. He was a mirror, a bridge, a reminder that brilliance often lives in places no one bothers to look. A few weeks after the Morocco negotiation, Nathan Rhodes stood outside Sam's new office, holding 2 cups of coffee. One for himself, black as always, one for Sam, hazelnut, no sugar. He knocked gently on the glass. "Got a minute?" Sam looked up from a set of handwritten notes. "Of course," he said, gesturing to the seat across from his desk. Nathan sat down slowly. He looked tired, not the kind of tired that comes from a lack of sleep, but the kind that came from rethinking everything you thought you knew. "I've been thinking about something you said," Nathan began, "that day in the conference room, about being invisible for 11 years. Sam stayed quiet, waiting. Nathan set his coffee on the table and leaned forward. "How many other Sam Delacruzes are we walking past every day?" Sam smiled faintly, then leaned back in his chair. "Would you like an honest answer?" "Always." Sam nodded. "There's Angela in the cafeteria. She has a master's degree in food science from the University of Michigan. She could redesign our entire employee nutrition program. No one's ever asked what she studied, just what kind of dressing they want on their salad. Marcus at the security desk? He speaks 5 languages and worked in international law before his wife got cancer. He needed a job with good insurance and took what he could get. Maria in accounting used to be an engineer in Colombia. She's got certifications that don't transfer here, so she reconciles spreadsheets instead of designing infrastructure. Nathan blinked. How do you know all this? I talk to people, Sam said simply, and I listen when they talk back. Nathan was quiet for a long moment, absorbing each name like a revelation. How many more are there? He asked, almost whispering. Sam shrugged. I've only scratched the surface. What about the warehouse crew? The mailroom? Janitors, security, food staff, drivers, people who work behind the curtain. Talent doesn't disappear just because someone has bills to pay. Nathan looked down at the table, then back at Sam. What would you do if you were in my position? Sam didn't answer right away. He turned to the window, watching the wind whip across the lake. I'd start asking better questions. Instead of, can you run this report? Ask, what do you want to run? Instead of, do you have experience in this role? Ask, what experiences might bring something new to this role? And instead of, what's your title? Ask, what else are you capable of that we haven't seen yet? Nathan exhaled deeply. That would mean changing the whole way we hire, the way we promote, the way we lead. Not changing, Sam said. Seeing. 3 months later, Apex Dynamics launched a new internal initiative called Hidden Talent. The goal was simple: uncover untapped skills and overlooked expertise within the company's existing workforce. They began with an anonymous internal survey that asked questions like, what did you study before joining Apex? What languages do you speak? Have you ever had a role outside of your current one that gave you a unique skill set? The responses stunned leadership. Angela from the cafeteria was promoted to Director of Employee Wellness within the first month. She introduced nutrition programs, reworked vending options, and started lunchtime seminars on healthy eating for high-performance teams. Marcus from security was transferred to the legal department's compliance division. His language skills and legal background became instrumental in navigating new supplier contracts in Southeast Asia. Maria from accounting? She was reassigned to a growing team of infrastructure specialists. Her engineering insights, long buried beneath invoices and Excel sheets, saved Apex nearly $2 million in miscalculated logistics forecasts. Within 6 months, Apex was named one of the top innovative employers to watch by Forbes Tech. But more than accolades, something else shifted. People looked each other in the eye. Employees introduced themselves differently. Department lines blurred. Pride showed up in the way janitors walked, the way security guards greeted guests, the way cafeteria staff made eye contact with the C-suite. Sam noticed the change most in the hallways. He was no longer the guy with the mop. He was the man who had shown the company what it meant to see. 1 year after the day he translated for the Eastbridge team, Sam stood in the same lobby where it all began. The morning was quiet. The building had just started waking up. Employees passed by, some waving, some stopping for a quick word. Others greeted him in languages they were practicing thanks to his lunchtime sessions. Nathan appeared beside him, holding a coffee. Penny for your thoughts? Sam smiled, looking around the lobby. I was thinking about my father. He used to say, every person you meet knows something you don't. The trick is being curious enough to find out what it is. Nathan nodded. Smart man. He would have liked this, Sam said. People building bridges instead of walls. Nathan studied him. Any regrets about those 11 years? Sam thought for a long moment. No, he said finally. Those years taught me things no boardroom ever could. They taught me patience, humility, and how to see people who feel invisible. He paused. Sometimes you have to be overlooked to understand how much it matters to be seen. At that moment, a delivery man approached the desk, clearly struggling with English. Sam stepped forward, just like he had a year ago, and helped him, this time in Tagalog. But something was different. When it was over, the receptionist turned to Sam and said, "Thank you, Mr. Delacruz. I've been taking the language class you recommended. Maybe next time I can help." Sam smiled. I'm sure you will. Nathan shook his head with a look of wonder. You know what the best part is? What? You haven't changed a bit. You're still the same person who helped that first delivery guy. The title didn't change you, it just gave the rest of us permission to see what was always there. Sam looked around the lobby one more time, at the diversity, the language, the laughter. My dad used to say language was the skeleton key, he said softly, but I think he was wrong about one thing. What's that? It's not language that opens doors. It's caring enough to speak.